Hello and welcome to Repertory Screenings, Episode 2. I'm your host, Em, and with me is my regular co-hosts, Jackson.
Hello.
And Destiny.
Hello.
We're here to talk about movies.
It's movies times.
Movies times? What?
Yeah.
The times are plural and the movies are plural. We're only talking about one movie.
Well, yeah, it's true.
And there's only one podcast, so I think you're wrong on both counts.
It's the movie hour.
That's true. It is a movie hour.
Last time we got forcibly shut off because me and Destiny would have carried on like bad podcasters.
That probably will not happen this time. Because,
less dense movie.
Yeah. This week we are talking about Morvern Callar. If you didn't watch it, now's your chance to punch out and go watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. That's it. That's where it's at. There's probably a DVD. I don't know. It looks bad wherever you watch it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, there's a DVD. It's on Amazon Prime. Yeah. I found a copy online. All of them look like dog shit because it's a movie from 2002.
Yeah.
That has not been like super popular enough to get a Blu-ray release.
Also, I'm pretty sure it was shot digitally, so it probably just looks bad regardless.
Some of the Letterboxd reviews acted like seeing it in 35mm was like incredible.
Okay. Fair enough.
So,
anyway, that's your last warning before we get into it.
Yes.
Please go watch it because you should experience this for yourself. I think we all enjoyed this movie quite a bit, so...
This will never be a spoiler-free podcast. What would be the point?
I just want to let people know since it's episode 2.
Yeah, it's just a warning at the top.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I was given the warning.
Okay. Jackson, why don't you tell me about Morvern Callar?
I did volunteer, didn't I?
Yes.
Morvern Callar. I guess Morvern Callar?
Yes, it's
is
Callar.
How they pronounce it?
Yes, I'm not Scottish enough for this.
Morvern Callar.
Nope.
Morvern Callar.
No, we can't do that. There's so many people who live across the pond who would be so mad at us for our fake accents, Scottish or otherwise.
Is Samantha Morton Scottish? Did anybody look that up?
No, because she's speaking in English the entire movie. She is definitely English.
Okay.
Which is a change from the book. Anyway, this is a movie from 2002 called Movern Callar, based on a book called Movern Callar from 1995. The film is directed by Lynn Ramsey and stars Samantha Morton as Morvern Callar. And the book was written by Alan Warner back in the 90s, and this is the adaptation of it. It's 90 minutes long. It is a film about a girl called Morvern.
It is a film.
You hesitated and it broke my brain.
It's about a girl named Morvern Callar who wakes up on Christmas morning to find that her boyfriend has killed himself. And he has left a suicide note with some money for the burial and the manuscript of his first novel and instructions to send it off to publishers. And she does what anyone would do in this situation, steals the money, buries her boyfriend.
Is that what anybody would do?
Buries her boyfriend in a field and submits the novel to publishers as her own work.
She dismembers her boyfriend and buries him in a field.
Yes, no, that's a crucial part of information there.
Yes.
And the movie is kind of about her trying to use this to discover herself and live her truest, most authentic life. It does not work.
I feel like you are framing this in a way that I would not frame this.
Okay.
That's fair.
Destiny, what do you think this movie... Explain this movie to people in short, in brief.
All right, so Morvern is a woman living in this sort of like dead-end town in Scotland, and she wakes up on Christmas morning to find that her boyfriend's committed suicide, and she opens up all the Christmas presents, and one of them is a mixtape, and then of course he has this suicide note on the computer. It tells her to be brave and to send his manuscript to a bunch of publishers, and that there's money for the funeral. So she gives herself a few moments to like let this sink in and freak out. And then she puts her name on the manuscript, sends it off, and takes the money and decides that the best way to process all of this is to get out of the country. And she takes her best friend Lana, and they end up in Spain, and so on and so forth.
That sounds relatively close to Jackson's.
Jackson's was like, I don't know, there was just something really flippant about it that I didn't, that I feel.
There was some editorializing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it's much more, I think it's a bigger deal for her than it is for us.
Oh, I think it's the biggest deal. I wasn't trying to play down the deal. This is just how I talk.
No worries.
But yeah, I love the film. Do we want to just go around?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I was surprised at how much I liked it, because it starts out and her boyfriend's dead, and she goes afterwards out on this like night of partying, and it starts out seeming like it's going to be this disaffected youths trying to connect in a world that won't let them movie, and it is. But when the turn happens and then they go on their life-affirming journey to Spain, and that is just as disaffected, and she's completely as unable to connect to anyone there, that's when the movie really got me. Because it starts out, she's in her dead-end job, she's going to all these parties, she's dealing with this massive trauma, and she obviously can't like feel anything at this point. But then she like does these like big impulsive things with her trauma. She like sends off the manuscript, and that ends up getting her a lot of money, and she can leave. She leaves for the holiday of Spain with her best friend, hangs out with like random people and like partiers in Spain, and then goes like looking for the authentic experience, traveling through villages and stuff, and it all ends up feeling just as detached throughout the film, and you just slowly realize that it's not really about her environment. It's not really about even like her boyfriend or anything. It's just there is something inside her that she can't really connect with people in the way that she wants to, and she keeps trying, and it just doesn't work. And it's a very sad movie. And she ends up like losing her friendship and leaving town. Like the final scene is her in an anonymous club somewhere, right? It's just her trying again, just keeping on going, because what else are you going to do? And I ended up really, really resonating with me. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, that's fair. I had seen this before several years ago. The only thing I remembered is her meeting with her ridiculous publisher. Well, I remembered the premise, and then her meeting with the publisher who travels to Spain, like the agent for the not her agent, like the agent for the publisher, and like a PR lady, a lawyer, I don't know, some lady who is also very officious, who come here and give her a very big check and are very excited when she says she doesn't have an agent and isn't interested in one. Because despite giving her £100,000 in $2002, apparently they think this is like a steal, that they are getting away with something.
Yeah.
Which, this must be the best book that's ever been written.
Because they act like this is the craziest, like, this is a really good deal, and because she doesn't have like an agent, she doesn't have to negotiate. We can just give her our lowest rate, and she'll think, we'll just win. We win. And the way they win is they just hand her in Spain a check for $100,000.
And then they're like, the rest is coming later.
Yeah. And it's just ludicrous. It's so much.
Which is outrageous. The thing that strikes me both times I watch this movie is she clearly sent off this manuscript without having read it. She has no idea what the book is about. It's the best part, because anytime they ask her for any question about anything, she just clams up. Like, and they don't care in like the way that like we've clearly got a winner here. It doesn't matter if our author's awkward, like the book's going to speak for itself, but
I assume
she definitely
sorry.
She definitely feels like she's gonna get caught, and it is portrayed as like her very worried that she's about to get caught at any turn, and it's very funny because that's just not the situation.
Yeah, they totally interpret her actions as just like, oh, she's just this really intense artist, They're weird, they're quiet, they're cagey about their future projects, because they ask her what her next novel is going to be about, and she's just like, she just says plainly, I work in a supermarket. Which is true. It's like what she literally is leaving behind. And they all laugh because they think it's the novel. And she's just saying it because she realizes that she probably won't be able to, like, write a follow-up to this. but they just hear it as, oh, this is what the next novel's about. And they don't actually believe her when she says she used to work in a supermarket.
Yeah, it's an incredible scene. One of the many. I don't think she ever goes to the toilet in this movie. There's multiple times she's like, I need to go to the toilet, and she just kind of stands there and goes, ah!
Is there a beginning scene where she's on the toilet? I might be getting it mixed up with the book.
So.
In the book, like, there's a lot of her just bathroom. She's puking, she's pooping, she's peeing, she's using somebody else's toothbrush.
That's gross.
Yeah, it was really
gross.
upsetting. It was the worst part. Like, and the things she does with her boyfriend's body in the book are way different, because she, like, he's a model train guy, and he, like, recreated his entire childhood home with model trains.
This is a missing detail!
Yeah, and the other missing detail is that he's, like, 14 years older than her, and you can tell he's, like, always come from money, and she dropped out of school to work at a grocery store. And it's framed in the sense of, like, they essentially hire you on, make you work crazy hours where you're always missing school, so you end up quitting school, and then you just work there until you're 21. She's still working there when she's 21, which is the age that, you know, everything starts in the film. But yeah, like, I feel like those two details. Oh, but anyway, she rigs up his body over the train set and, like, hangs it there. And then it crashes down, and there's a skylight, and it snows on it, and then she dismembers it.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
And also,
I feel like the choices made in this book sound bad to me.
It's a very unrealistic scene, but I think it's really interesting. Like, the one big difference between the book and the film, aside from, like, never letting you know much about the boyfriend who's never named, is like, just the how do I want to put it? I've had a brain fart. Come back to me.
Well, the thing I was gonna say is, like, I like the fact that this, like, all these details are not there, because this recenters the movie on, like, Morvern living in a liminal space of, like,
yes,
this is just my drifting life, and it's more about the reality of drifting life as, like, a universal constant more than it is about, like, the specific situation with this shitty boyfriend. Like, there's many shitty boyfriends in the world. The details are not important.
Exactly, and it really brings home that wherever you go, there you are saying, like, you can't get away from yourself. Oh, the thing I was going to say was, in the book, he does not leave her a mixtape. She just listens to a bunch of different ones. Like, she's just a big music nerd, and that's how it's very train spotting. It was like riding that wave of Scottish lit, so
yeah,
everything's about music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like how restrained the film is about this stuff, because there's just so many, like, long, empty scenes where she's just sitting there. And I understand you can't do that in a book, right? You have to fill that with detail.
Well, the director, Lynn Ramsey, comes from photography, and you can, like, it's super obvious as you watch the movie.
Yeah, because, like, the opening is, like, 5 minutes. It's a long time of just her lying there, the Christmas tree lights flashing on and off in the background, and the sound of those being just the most intense sound of, like, electricity humming as they click on and off. And then they do the shot from The Matrix where she sees the computer, which is not on purpose, but was funny to me.
I didn't even make that connection.
It's so ominous. It's like just like read me on the computer screen. The way they get across that this boyfriend is an asshole without really giving any details about him, just through the context of he's killed himself and here's his very arch suicide note.
Yeah, like, they know that we know that he's moody, we know he has weird taste in music, and we know that, like, he's kind of weird and probably doesn't like going partying with her. Like,
and eventually we learn that he's, like, slept around with her friend.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I always forget that, which is, you'd think it would be a bigger reveal, but it's, as most things in this movie, it's just a very quiet moment.
It's also, like, her friend thinks it's a big deal, but it is not, like, Morvern doesn't care.
Well,
it is not the thing she is worried about at that point.
Well, for Lana, I feel like nothing, like, she doesn't have the same point of view as Morvern. I don't know if it's because she's had an easier life. Like, she's just as broke as Morvern, but there's this impression that, like, for Morvern, getting all this money is the chance to do the life-affirming thing and get out of the country and see the world and get in touch with whatever's out there that she couldn't find at home and get away from like all this baggage of death. But for Lana, it's like just more partying, and she doesn't get, like, when Morvern comes back from Spain and they reunite, Lana's like, oh, I've got a date in a fortnight and I'm really excited. It's one of these guys from Leeds that we met in Spain. And Morvern's like, oh, I wanted to leave the country with you again. It's just not the same thing for Lana. Everything is just, they're just coming from two different worlds.
The thing for me is, like, Lana is someone who grew up in this situation. Like, she's just, like, she's poor, but she's fine. She has a gran she visits and teases and, like, a normal life. And that's just kind of what her, like, the direction of her life has been very linear. Whereas Morvern gives off the vibes of something has happened to put her in the situation that is shitty.
Well, she's just been lonely her whole life, it sounds like. Like, she keeps referring to, like...
She feels like someone who fell into this situation more than, like, grew up in the situation.
Not to be
like,
that,
she doesn't have family, and like the way, like, she doesn't have like the same relations and roots as everyone. Like, she feels like the weird girl from outside of this like community.
Like her foster mother's buried on an island, and yeah, there's just a lot of. What were you gonna say, Jackson?
I agree, but I think the movie portrays that more as like a mindset than like a.
Oh
truth.
yes, for sure. But like. She goes and visits Lana's grandmother because she doesn't have family, right? Like, that's an important reality of her world, is that she has no roots. She is drifting on this one shitty boyfriend and her one friend that works at the supermarket.
But it's also clear that, like, if she was the kind of person who could, like, enjoy this, right? She could just accept this gran as part of her, like, extended family, right? Like,
yes.
Her and her best friend could form, like, these real connections. It is not that she is without opportunities to, like, make the things that she wants in her life.
I'm pretty sure that, I mean, he's a much bigger character in the book, but there's an older gentleman that when she first goes to the bar at the beginning of the movie, he says, like, oh, I thought you'd be down to visit us by now. And I'm pretty sure that's her foster father. They don't really, like, if you look at they don't name a lot of characters in the film other than Morvern and Lana. But if you look at the credits, all their names are there, because, like, everyone in the book has a fucking nickname. And her foster father is named Red Hannah, and I'm pretty sure that older gentleman is him. But even then, like, I think that the death of her foster mother kind of put this gulf between them in a way. Like, I don't know, I feel like that she keeps bringing up that her foster mother's buried, and, like, not, like, there's a character that she meets in Spain who is crying because his mother's dead, and she, like, talks to him about it. And I feel like that is something that comes up for her a lot in losing her boyfriend. And I think that's the thing that kind of isolates her from everyone else. Like, she just knows that life is short in a way that Lana does not.
I don't know if I would say she knows life is short, because it's not like she's like, I'm going to seize the day. She's literally just looking to fill a void, right?
Yeah, but I think she feels a sense of urgency about it because she's experienced such loss. I don't know. Maybe that's just my read on it.
I think there's there's a lot of things that contradict in her. Like, there's a lot of urgency, but there's also very little, like, she flits between things. Like, it's an impulsiveness.
Yeah, I would, like, if there is an urgency, I would depict it as like an urgency to escape whatever situation she is in when it is not immediately fulfilling her need, more than it is like an urgency to find the need fulfilled, because, like, that could be fulfilled anywhere if she allowed it to.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's the whole point of, like, the final conversation of the movie, right? Or one of them. I don't know if it's the actual final thing, but she goes back to Lana. And she tells her about the date she's having, and Morvern's like, well, we could go away again, we could do this stuff again. And then Alana replies, like, I don't know why, it's the same crap there is anywhere.
Yeah, and then Morvern seems...
being that...
Oh, go on.
Oh, just the point being that, like, you can be happy here. It's not about like the emptiness of partying or the emptiness of, you know, going on a life-affirming trip or whatever. It's about her, just something within her that can't connect to people.
And she thinks immediately, like any poor person, that money's gonna fill it. Because we've all had those days where we just daydream about our rich person lives.
Oh, we sure have. I found that stuff really sad because, like, on some level, I think that is like a cool, like, exciting fantasy in a film sense, right? It's like she is gonna affirm herself by taking this money from a shitty dead boyfriend. She may as well have it. I think that, like, that could be cool. And so the moment that she goes to the publishers and she's worried she's going to get caught, but what the scene actually plays as is that even, like, pretending she can't be this person. And it's not because she's going to be found out, right? Because they don't care. The people giving her the money don't give a fuck. But it's because she just can't be in that space. She can't be comfortable sitting in front of them. Even though the opportunity is there and it's working, she can have the money. But she will never be able to, like, be that person in the way that her boyfriend probably could, right? He could just walk the walk of being an obnoxious artist. And she can't even fake it just to get, like, she can't even cynically fake it just to get, like, a Robin Hood type payday. She's just not there.
One of the funniest lines in that scene is, I don't remember which of them says it to her, but one of the publishing people says to her, "I just loved the strong female voice, or the unique female voice of the novel." Yeah. And it's...
which is doubly funny because the book is written by a man.
That's true, and also she has barely any lines. Like, Samantha Morton talks very little in this film.
I mean, the actual book, Morvern Callar, is written by a
man.
I
know. I'm reading it right now, and I actually really enjoy it, and I think the voice is done really well, but that is really funny.
Yeah.
One of the things that always kind of, just as somebody who's seen this movie quite a bit over the years, is how much more sympathetic she is to me the older I get. Because when I first saw this movie, I was probably in my 20s. And I just remember seeing the scene where she, essentially, after she finds his body, she gets dolled up and goes out to party with her friend, gets super wasted, fucks around with some people, and, like, you know, I remember thinking, she's really callous. Morvern Callar. Like, she's really just
nope.
Like, how can she be so, like, thoughtless? And every rewatch, I would find a new reason to sympathize with her and realize, like, yeah, this was a selfish thing that he did, and I like that it sort of frames it as one of those things where it's not about him, it's how she handles this. And the way she chooses to do it, I think, is actually weirdly noble. Aside from the, like, let's say, you know, without the dismembering of the body and stuff. But there's just something really ballsy about just being like, you know what, I'm gonna claim this fucking novel. I'm gonna see the world. I don't know. What do you think? Where do your sympathies lie?
I mean, yeah, like, if she had done what he wanted and just turned in the novel, like, they still would have bought it. It still would have been a big deal. But then, like, where's that going to? Like, some family that doesn't matter, that isn't in, the, like, the framework at all.
Exactly.
Definitely not her. They're not married, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah. Good point.
Yeah, like, I feel like the movie leans into some things that are a bit, you know, thinking emoji. Not in a real way, just in a, like, there are critiques you could make about its portrayal of suicide.
I don't know what that means. I'm 33 years old. What are you talking about?
I know what that means. I'm 33 years old.
I think that there are ways to read this movie. There are critiques you can make about its portrayal of suicide being like, I think it portrays suicide as like an inherently cowardly thing.
Yes, like, this boyfriend is, like, thoughtless and shitty, but because he killed himself. Like, it doesn't matter why he did it. It's like a bad thing to do to her.
One of the things that really bothers me is that he leaves money for his own funeral, but he doesn't leave money for her.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't say anything about, like, how she's supposed to go on for the next...
Well, what he actually does is, like, don't try to understand it in, like, the most, like, pedantic, like, talking down to
what a
your
dick
shitty
bag.
girlfriend way.
Yeah.
Which is why I end up, like, even though I think those critiques do hold, I think the specifics of how he does it are shitty enough that I don't necessarily... Like, I don't think this is a condemnation of people who...
No, I don't think it's that at all. This is very specific to this situation, I think.
Even though I do think a large part of, like, the tragedy of Morven's existence, like, by the end of the movie, is that she can't. Like, she doesn't have the arch sense of herself to give herself this romantic ending, right? She just has to keep going. She's going to the next town. She's going to the next club. There isn't, like, an escape from this for her, like he could just do and imagine this, like, legacy for himself. She just doesn't have that within herself. Because I thought that was a very deliberate, like, comparison point by the end of the film.
Oh, definitely.
You know,
I wish I could find my copy of the book. I thought I had it out here with me, because the suicide note's completely different. It's it's just longer, and there's more of an implication of, like, I had a great time with you, but I just had to do this, you know, and played a prank on myself thinking I could make it this long, and just, I don't know, it's way more, like, obnoxious.
Yeah.
But he also makes sure her rent's paid up in the book, which I appreciated.
The thing I like about the, like, shittiness and thoughtlessness of his suicide note is that the book is, like, instantly one solicitation, like, one unsolicited sending to an agent, and, like, he's like, here's the list to go down. The first one bites with a, like, 6-figure check. Like, this guy had, like, all of the things and was still just this, like...
Yeah.
What I want, like, cartoon of this shitty writer boyfriend, right?
The tortured
like,
artist.
Yeah, like, none of it changes based on the fact that the book is good, because it doesn't matter how genius you are, that's still, like, a shit way to treat people. And I like that the movie definitely absolutely does not let any of that off the hook. Like, It's not like, oh, suddenly the book is good and now maybe she thinks differently about that, which I think you could have in a less sympathetic to more
really obnoxious
Yeah, she's
story. Yes.
not thinking about him, like, in that regard at all.
After, like, until he, like, outside of disposing of his body, I feel like her entire, like, her existence in this movie is, like, this sense of, like, maybe I should be thinking about him, but I just can't bring myself to give a shit.
Yeah.
There's that incredible scene where they're trapped in the middle of fucking nowhere because she's walked just through Spain and dragged Lana with her. And Lana's so pissed off and assumes, because her logic is just normal person, like, interrelationship logic, that Lana, that Morvern is taking this all out on her because she slept with her boyfriend one time. And she keeps saying, oh, are you still mad about that? I said I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. Why are we in the middle of nowhere? And then Morvern just snaps and just says, he's dead. And Lana doesn't react. Like, Lana doesn't, like, I don't know what the, intent is, but it plays as her just thinking this is like her just speaking metaphorically, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, because she tells her that they broke up and he left, essentially. We didn't say that up top, but yeah. And
the way she says it isn't like, he's dead, this is so traumatic to me, and I think this is the big thing that I've been hiding from you. It's, he's dead, stop bringing him up.
Yeah. It's very...
He's not here anymore, I don't care.
Yeah, it's a weirdly pragmatic way of looking at the loss of your boyfriend.
Yep.
And I just wonder, like, okay, let's say I have this pompous writer partner and they pass away. Like, would I be able to just flippantly be like, he's dead? I don't think I could. I would feel obligated to, I don't know, do that performative mourning thing, I think, if I were in her shoes.
I mean, she cooks a pizza over his dead body.
She, like, jumps over his dead body to get in and out of the kitchen. She's still feeding herself. Yes. She's still taking showers. She's painting her nails. It's, like, stuff I could never do.
I also like that he, like, went to all this effort to, like, set up his README, leave a nice suicide note, and then, like, fell in the middle of between the kitchen and the, like, living room. Just, like, everything is planned except for the moment, just dropped and blood smears and right in front of the tree that just blinks forever. There's like a certain amount of, like, like messiness to something that otherwise feels like it was very dramatically thought through at length, and then here he is just dead in the doorway. Like no one would pose themselves that way.
The way that his like suicide is completely like planned, right? It's the most planned thing.
Yes.
Loopy Velez.
And ridiculously arch and everything. And her rejection of that by just letting him slide there
For days.
and walk over him for days. It's just it is a power move in terms of how much he doesn't give a shit about the like design of this romantic suicide. She's got to have a pizza, damn it.
Yep. Heroism is having a pizza.
Heroism is having a pizza. Yeah, no, it's materialism to steal your dead boyfriend's novel.
Yes, absolutely. What's he gonna do with it?
Exactly.
Nothing.
He's dead.
His family's already rich. Get paid.
Yeah, get paid.
That's
But you gotta, if you're gonna do that, you gotta understand it won't fix you.
Yeah, no, it doesn't solve anything.
I mean, he
maybe
was
don't
a,
go
he was a
to
brilliant writer,
Spain
apparently,
with your
and he
friend.
still killed himself, so...
There's an amazing scene towards the back half of the movie where they're still in Spain, and she's forced Lana to leave their partying hotel because it's just a bunch of people from the UK partying.
Yes.
And she's like, this isn't an escape at all.
No.
We're all just fucking tourists
Yeah.
getting drunk just like at home, and I hated it there. We need to find the authentic experience. And Lana is understandably pissed off because she's fine. She just enjoys this.
She likes partying.
She literally pulls her out of bed where she is like about to like sleep with a guy. She took a bunch of ecstasy and they're about to fuck. She's like, "We're going into the desert. I found a cabbie who will take us there."
I'm the guy with the hat just sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? And then as they're going into the desert, Lana's just getting increasingly more mad. And there's this amazing moment where it's for a film that is mostly like handheld shots and like these like intimate moments. There's this one very framed ridiculous shot where she is standing in front of the parked car smoking, the cabbie is leaning on the parked car smoking, and Lana's inside having a breakdown, like, oh my god, where the fuck are we gonna get going, what are we doing, as she's like got sunglasses on, smoking into the distance, and like sinks the way she throws the cigarette away with the cabbie thinking that this is her, like, yes, this is the real shit right here,
And then points in a direction they're going to go, like they're blazing a trail to this nearby village that has their own shit going on, because they're in the middle of like a bull festival where they have like wrangling some bulls in the square while everyone watches on, so they have no time for these two British ladies running into their town.
We need to talk about Kevin also has like a Spain festival scene. Just throwing that out there. That's another Lynn Ramsey movie.
Mm-hmm. God, yeah, it's ridiculous. It comes off as her being like the most child playing at this is what meaning is.
Yes. Well, because there's that shot after they both get separated in the town where she's like walking up these stone steps dragging a giant suitcase behind her, because there was no thought to doing this. It was just a whim at the moment. So here she is, like, tired of the tourists just being like the most egregious version of tourism, where you're dragging your clothes up a cobblestone hill in the Spanish wilderness for no good reason.
It's good because there's like infinite versions of this movie played earnestly, right? Of the I was soulless, living the partying life in the drab working life of Britain, and then I went on a tourism trip and found myself. This is infinite movies. And watching them just do that in the most cynical, like, this is enough, this isn't real, this is the most fake thing way, is very good. Because nobody has any time for her.
Yeah.
And then she abandons Lana in the middle of Spain because she is no longer sparking joy for her.
I mean, she likes the quiet. She needs the quiet. There's something about all she needs is that
abandons her on a dirt road.
Yeah, she takes her friend who kind of just was going along with her because she felt sorry for her to Spain, and then drags her like tripping on drugs out into the wilderness, and then leaves her overnight in the desert. Like, she could have been eaten by coyotes or something. I don't know what's out in the Spanish desert, but like, it's a legitimately irresponsible thing to do.
Yep. And then immediately goes and gets her check. Like,
yep.
It's ridiculous. Like the way everything kind of spills over into the end of realizing was an ill thought out idea and has helped nothing. Morvern. It was very good. Looks great. I liked how shit it was on the copies we all had, because even though I'm sure that there is like seeing this on like a actual film print is very like legitimately good looking, it just feels like 2002 in every way.
Yeah, it's still a very gorgeous film. I feel like it definitely has a great visual mood.
Absolutely, but I'm absolutely like also nostalgic for downloading 480p Xvid rips.
Yeah, it's extremely that, but it's still also like a movie that is like really into deliberate color tone in a way we don't see it anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's pre-digital grading, because this movie didn't have the money for any of that. So it's just like the most washed out versions of Scotland, right?
Scotland, yes.
Yes. Like beautiful but gray looking wildernesses, and then like gross fluorescent grocery stores, and then you just get like the most like warm earth tones version of Spain, and the two things just have to live right next to each other and feel worlds apart, despite it being like a movie that's mostly shot like naturally.
It's so sunny in Spain and so snowy in Scotland too. And I think they don't really like, do they imply in the movie that it's a few months between Christmas and when they actually leave for Spain?
I don't think so.
Yeah, because in the book it's like the book starts at Christmas, but they don't leave for Spain until July. So, I don't know.
I think that comes across like with how they do. I think just like the stuff with the foster parent, right? Like I assume she goes in summer because it's clearly summer in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they don't get like it's not about the spelling it out, because it every scene just kind of flits to the next one.
Yep.
Like if you know, you can find out, but it will just drift through the movie.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter either.
The choice is made to put those two right next to each other, right? Like when she's in Scotland, she is walking with heavy coats in like winter desolate, like nighttime streets that are all just like the roads are like the pathways are icy and everything looks like shit and everyone looks cold and miserable all the time. And then they walk out like pale fish in the Spanish sun, and you're like, oh yeah, really far from home here, like both thematically and literally. And then who is it but like 17,000 chavs all having a bender.
You're gonna get people riding in.
I don't care.
I feel like chavs is southern. That's not really a Scottish thing.
I don't know. It's
I
all
don't
the same
know what
to
they
me,
have
Jackson.
in Scotland. What do they have?
I don't know.
I mean, she met those boys from Leeds. Are those not chavs? I don't know.
Those were lads. I don't know.
Those were lads. The guys from Leeds are definitely lads. Everyone in Spain was a lad.
Okay.
the fucking lads, man.
Lana loves a lad.
Yeah, no accounting for taste.
I mean, Morvern does too, is the thing, right? Like it's not like she's not there to maybe hook up with someone. She just finds them all very obnoxious and loud suddenly.
And the only person she does hook up with is the person that's experienced a huge loss and is depressed and disconnected as she is.
But they don't really get on very well.
Yeah,
No.
except he's not actually like disconnected. Like he's feeling it. Like he's living in the moment. He's having this connection. She's like, oh, it's like me. And then like I feel like immediately it is clear that it is not like her.
No.
And she feels that like weird dawning sense of like, oh, something is different in the way I've processed this and the way he has processed this.
Oh yeah, it's definitely the motivating event for her leaving the resort or whatever.
Well, she also like, she doesn't talk about like, oh, let me talk about my boyfriend. She's like, I could talk about that time my foster mother died. In like, because that's the thing that she thinks of as the loss she suffered, not anything to do with the boyfriend.
Yeah, no, that's it definitely is the big one for her. So how do we feel about that mixtape?
I don't give a shit, sorry.
Oh.
I don't care about the music even a little bit.
Saw this movie and like downloaded all of those songs immediately. I bought a few albums. I got some Stereolab albums. I got some broadcast albums. Ugh, could not get enough of it.
This is because Destiny told me about this movie shortly after we started dating, and this is the first movie or the first time I'd ever heard Some Velvet Morning, which is the standout here, which is just a very good song that I like.
Lee Hazelwood and Nancy Sinatra. It's the song
it got me into them.
that she walks into the grocery store listening to. So good. It's probably one of my favorite scenes, actually.
But yeah, otherwise the standouts for me are like Can and Aphex Twin, like, you know, bands I already know.
Yeah, the book is actually dedicated to some members of Can, which I think is really cute.
I think that might be very obnoxious. I think that's obnoxious. I think I would hate this book. Is my reaction.
It's a very 90s book. Like, that's the
It sounds
worst thing I can say about it. Like, I like it because I think the character is just fascinating, and I'll always kind of have a soft spot for, like, disaffected girls. But yeah, no, it's a very 90s book. Also, it's so Scottish. I had to look up so many words. I've learned so much Scottish slang. And everyone has a nickname. Sometimes I don't even know what's going on.
That's fair enough.
Because I realized certain words were just nicknames. And I didn't, it took me a second. Like, oh, that's a person.
It's good. But yeah, like looking around at some of the things that have been like said about this movie more widely online, I feel like the discussion goes into multiple camps of people being like, wow, why would she do that? How could she do something so immoral? Like that was a lot of the takes that I saw. I saw one take saying that it was genuinely the life affirming movie also. Very strange, some of the writing about this online.
I think it's purposely very hard to read. So I'm kind of not surprised that people are everywhere, all over the place about this film.
I just don't know how, like, the movie ends with her in like an anonymous club listening to the mixtape still, right? Like she has earbuds in the middle of this like bumping club as she just wanders like totally lost. I don't know how you get life affirming out of any of that. Like I could see up to that point maybe reading it wrong, but the ending is such a sad, like, this is just going to be her life forever.
Mm-hmm. And she's listening to the most like pointed song on that whole fucking tape, which is dedicated to the one I love by the Mamas and the Papas. And it's like, I don't know how you could lose your boyfriend who left you this tape and not be flooded with memories of him listening to that song and thinking about the intentionality behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I definitely, you know, I've said where I am in this movie. I think it's a great ending. Real bummer.
I love it. I love it so much. It's still one of my favorite movies. Like, a lot of the movies I saw around this point in my life, like 21 to 23, are just really formative. And this is definitely one of them.
Makes sense.
Is that all we've got? I think that might be everything, unless someone
might have
has
covered it.
other stuff to talk about.
Not really.
Okay, bit shorter. That's good. I like that.
That's fine.
Oh, I want to throw it out there that there's another really great Samantha Morton performance in a movie no one will see now. I was telling Em, I'm like, oh, you know, she like never talks in Sweet and Lowdown, but you'll never watch it. And Em's like, why?
No.
And I tell them that it is a Woody Allen movie starring Sean Penn.
That was my reaction too. I was like, Jesus Christ.
But she's fucking great in it. But yeah, don't.
If you want Samantha Morton to not say a lot of words in another movie that you can watch totally fine, mostly, Minority Report is a very good movie.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
It's
I
great.
want to rewatch that. I remember thinking the last half hour was dog shit back in the day.
Oh, the last half hour is very dumb and pat, but the
Okay.
rest of it's amazing.
Yeah, that was very me being like a young film student take. I bet I'd just appreciate its nonsense more now.
Yeah, it's got great world building. The part where it's like right before smartphones, so everyone has little tiny like Bluetooth earpieces because that's what they thought phones would be.
love it!
So good.
That's very funny.
It's fucked up I have more affection for iRobot than Minority Report.
I know. I don't understand how that happens because one of those is much better than the other, and you have it backwards.
How that happens is you watch iRobot when you are...
The actual answer is that you were a child when they came out. Yes, now I know how this happens.
Oh, it's so weird.
iRobot's great. It's dumb as hell.
I thought iRobot sucked at the time, so
I've never
too
seen
old.
it.
it's
Hold by Pie.
It's bad. It's a bad movie. Will Smith is phoning it the fuck in. The only good part is fucking Shia LaBeouf because this is when he was giving a damn about his life.
Yeah, no, a star of holes.
Yes, exactly.
I forgot that movie happened.
basically playing the exact same character that he does in Constantine. That's him in Constantine, right?
Shit, there's a movie.
Yeah,
I
there's
love
a
that
movie.
movie.
There's a fucking movie.
The news going around where Keanu Reeves is like, I'd love to do another Constantine if we get the movie money together. I'm like, hell yeah, you would, because it's the best movie.
Who wouldn't do Constantine 2? In fact, it gets better the older Keanu Reeves gets.
The part where he, like, fucking, I guess spoilers for Constantine briefly, where he, like, cheats the devil out of, like, getting the devil to remove his lung cancer and now is just gonna live for another 20 years and it's, like, broke-ass, run-down middle-aged Constantine would be the best.
Oh, I can't wait. Just there's no point where I don't want that. Like, the older he gets, the more I want it.
Yes.
Constantine 2, where you at?
Yeah, where are you
I guess we're done.
We are done.
We're
Thanks,
so
everyone.
done.
Oh, we have an email. If you have emails, you can send them to podcast@abnormalmapping.com. Jackson, do you want to run down the email? It's from our friend Tron. Is there any questions that are relevant that we didn't cover already?
Yeah, Tron has an email with a lot of questions. I will cover anything that we didn't get to in the film. So the first question is about all the stuff with the morality of her and the body.
So the thing I want to wrap around back on this is Tron specifically asks about like the fantasticality of like leaving a body there, and people leave bodies all the time because they can't process it. Destiny telling me that she then hung the body up over the train set in the book. That's the fantastical one. I'm like, no, this is too much. I hate it.
I was reading that and I was like, wow, I wouldn't like this movie if they put this in the movie.
The part where she just leaves it there seems like.
Realistic people do that.
Yeah,
people
like,
literally do that.
Even their like actual loved ones, the people just leave dead bodies lying around all the time because sometimes you just can't process it, right?
Yeah, like if you Google people, there was a guy that left his dead wife in her bed for years, and like let her mummify. Like people do it all the time. Like I I understand not wanting to deal. The dismemberment is kind of ridiculous and would never happen. One of the things that is really funny is that scene happens to the song I'm Sticking With You by the Velvet Underground, which is later used in Juno as like the cutesy like we're in love song. And I
was like, where do I recognize this from?
You're
right, it was in fucking Juno.
Yep. And it's like a completely different context, which makes me laugh.
I just like the like extreme utilitarianness of her like stripping down to her underwear with like a mask on to cut that body apart. It's very good.
She's not wearing a mask. I'm pretty sure she's wearing like just the sunglasses. His little sunglasses.
Right, just the sunglasses. Right. Yes.
I like the genre of movies that are about people who die, but there's no. Like, there is never even the threat of the cops finding out. Right?
Yes.
No one's going to find out he's gone. This is not about that. Because you can sometimes tell when you watch a movie that this is a plot that would, in a normal film, be about like the tension of who's going to find out about this. Not even a little bit here.
No.
The only version of this movie where I'd want the cops to be involved is the Coen brothers remake of Morvern Callar.
Oh, please.
Where there's just a side plot about this like shitty Scottish cop who's now trying to discover where this person disappeared to.
I really want them to completely the Coen brothers would assume that this maps onto the Midwest perfectly.
Yes,
and
yes, they absolutely would.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. Scotland's very different.
I mean, just the idea of like living in a small town where everybody just drinks all the time.
I see why they'd think that.
Yeah,
I think there's like a class element that doesn't quite map onto this small town in the Midwest.
That's true. But I think, hey, if you set this movie in somewhere in Ohio.
I want it to be in Scotland, but to be treated like the Midwest.
I want the Coen brothers' sensibilities to not really understand why there's like extended scenes of everyone jumping through fires, like because it's just how it is. God, yeah. Oh, that'd be good.
Were there any other questions in this email, Jackson?
There were a few more questions. What do we have here? Are we familiar with any of the BBC actors in this movie? I couldn't spot any myself. I mean, Samantha Modern, but I wasn't like it's a little old, so I wasn't really spotting. Oh, I know that guy from TV.
Yeah, I didn't recognize.
I'm sure there were.
I don't really watch movies that way. I'm really bad about faces and names, so
I usually am really good, but I'm not up on BBC stuff. So
We have, do you prefer a natural environment or do you prefer going to clubs?
I think the only person here who might be the club person is Destiny.
I only like clubs in short bursts, in moderation. I like to dance, and I like music, and I like drinking, but I don't like crowds. And the idea of being out of my head on like substances at a club sounds like literal hell. I would rather like the house party after the big like club scene the big bar scene in the beginning. That's more my scene. The house party, where it's a smaller group of people. They probably all know each other. That's a little more comfortable for me. But I'm bad with nature, so I wish I could be like, oh, I would love a quiet countryside, but there'd be bugs and heat.
I am equally alienated by both. I relate a lot to Morvern in this movie. It's not really the environment, right? It's just something in you. You got to try to work through it.
And also being around people that like only want to get wasted is very tiring very quickly.
Mm-hmm. The other that we talked about.
I think we're good with the rest of these.
Yeah, we're good. I'm going down these. Yeah, we're okay. We covered these.
Yeah. So if you want to send emails, again, podcast@normally.com. They don't have to be about the movie we're covering. It could be about anything.
Yes, you can email us anything.
Any movies. We'll talk about any old movie.
Obviously, we just started talking about Coen Brothers for no good reason.
And Constantine.
Yes. Anyway, next fortnight. I was about to say next month, but I guess it will technically be next month, but this is a fortnightly podcast.
It is a fortnight podcast.
Fortnite!
Tilty Towers? I don't know what Fortnite is.
You have never sounded older than you did at that moment.
I don't know what's
you
going
are
on.
ancient.
I don't know what's going on.
Destiny,
tell me everything you know about Fortnite. This is because
kids like it. Isn't that it's like free, and
yeah.
Do you know what kind of game it is?
It's like is it a shooter?
Yes. Mostly.
Close enough.
I don't know anything else. I really don't.
No, it's fine. I couldn't be the only person who was out of touch here.
Yeah, I don't know what anything even looks like in that game. Is it pixels? Or is it like fancy?
Is it pixels or is it fancy?
It's like what if The Sims barfed on PUBG? You've seen PUBG enough to know what that looks like.
Speaking of things that are old, we're watching another movie next month.
Yeah, next month we're watching All the President's Men, which is directed by Alan J. Pakula, screenplay William Goldman. I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either.
So look forward to that. If you were in the UK, where can you watch this, Jackson?
Literally anywhere, but it's not on Netflix, so it's not for like on a streaming service, but you can rent it from YouTube, Amazon, iTunes, Talk TV, Chili, the Microsoft Store, and the PlayStation Network. Also Google Play. You can get it from fucking anywhere.
Okay. In the US, this is available on Netflix, according to the site we use. But if you want to rent it, the cheapest you can get is $3 on PSN.
Yeah, it's £1 cheaper on PSN for some reason, even though it is.
But it's not listed. You know what? That's listed as SD. Watch movies in HD. Get it on YouTube. It's $4.
Yeah, it is $3.49 on iTunes and everywhere, and it's $3.49 for HD copy wherever you want to rent it.
So looking forward to that. Until then, Destiny, where can people find you online?
At FridgeBuzzNow on Twitter.com.
Do you want to plug your band since we're watching a movie?
Oh.
With music?
So I don't know why I'm suddenly shy, but my like weird bedroom shoegaze project, Toad Lilies, with my friends Andrea and Jake, have an album on Bandcamp. So Toad Lilies, one word. The album is called June 13th, and check it out on Bandcamp.
Jackson, plugs.
I am at Headfuls Off on Twitter. You can find me there. You can find other podcasts we do at abnormalmapping.com. Me and Em have a game club called Normal Mapping. We have another podcast on Patreon.
Yeah, you can get that at patreon.com/normalmapping, where you can support the network, keep me, Jackson, and Destiny all fed and sheltered in these trying times. For $1 a month, you get the Great Gundam Project, which is me and Jackson every week on Wednesdays, talking about 2 episodes of Mobile Suit Gundam, the anime franchise. Maybe you've heard of it. We are currently watching Victory Gundam. We watch other anime alongside it. Right now, we're watching Super Dimension Fortress Macross. That's correct, right?
That is correct.
And that's Macross is a good time. Gundam, up and down. Land of contrast. But it's a very good podcast if you like more of this, but a little more focused. I write summaries. It's, a little more formal. There's free episodes if you go to timetogoax.is. You can get free episodes of the first of every one of these shows. Hear what it's about. Other than that, you can find me on Twitter at em_being. If you want to talk movies, go to the website, abnormalmapping.com, and there's a Discord link. You can come to our Discord and talk about movies with us.
Yeah, I should jump in
can.
the Discord and talk about movies with y'all, because I never go on the Discord.
That's fine.
And that's it. Everyone, go home. I need an outro for this.
See
but I don't have
at
one
the
this
movies. We'll just steal Ebert's.
We can't do that.
We can't do that. See you out there.
We're done.
That's it. We're done.